My Northwest travels find me on the road again. Well, this is the stretch of the Alaska Highway between Fort St. John and Fort Nelson. It's about 400 kilometers, and I don't think the Jeep towing the trailer, right now at least, will get 400 kilometers out of a tank of gas. I just passed my last chance at getting gas, and I'm about a third left on fuel. I did bring a jerry can, but it's a risk. However, I need to know realistically how far I can travel on a tank of gas. So I'm hoping I can make it, because there's going to be stretches, and they're going to be coming up really soon, that there will be no gas stations for many miles. So I really have to test out the Jeep and the trailer. Wish me luck. Well, my gas light just went on at 363 kilometers. And that typically means I've got another 50 kilometers in my tank. But I don't know if I want to chance it, to be honest with you. I might have made it, but I'm not taking the chance. That's it. Well, 5 gallons or 20 liters. Looks like it gives me a third of a tank. I'm good. As they say, better safe than sorry. The highway is the one place risks must be kept to a minimum, as you never know what lies around the corner. As for this poor guy, looks like his wheel came off before he ended up in the ditch. I sure hope he got out okay. Just past Fort Nelson, I found a campsite. Looks like I'm the only one here. So I get my big dumpster. Nobody here at all. Well, in that case, I'm going to look for a nice and sunny spot for solar, which would probably be this one. Yep, that'll work. Well, when I picked this spot, it was just a little dot on the map. I really didn't know what it was like. And when I picked this campsite, I thought, you know what? This is a pretty good open space. Looks perfect. But what I didn't realize was the bonus. Just down here is a little trail. And didn't really know where it went until I decided to check it out. So rather than look at me, let me show you the trail. Now this is a campsite. And it's amazing. I have it all to myself. This is what people pay big money for. But it's free. If you know where to look. Which leads to the question many viewers ask. How do I find these remarkable campsites? Because I'm sure some people think that there's some app or something on the internet, but I don't rely on that, especially on the internet. And let's face it, I don't have the internet right now. There's no signal, so I can't actually use the internet. I prefer, to me, the best tip you can get is from another camper. However, there's no campers around here. I've got this whole place to myself. So when I'm planning, I use maps. You know, just your basic, gas station map, road atlas. But for this particular area, and I'm talking about northern British Columbia, there is a Bible. And it's called the Back Road Map Book, BRMB, for northern BC. This is a great book. It's so worth the, I think, $30 Canadian I paid for it, because it takes the entire northern part of the province, even like on the borders of Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, and it breaks it down to very small sections with incredible detail. Because what you get is, not only do you get contour maps, shows you elevation, but you also get logging roads, tiny little roads just for oil and gas. It gives you all the back roads. But not only that, and what's important to me, is it lists recreational areas. And many recreational areas, there's some day areas, but some of them are for camping, and it's free camping. It also lists like provincial campsites, which you can pay, but in the back it also has a section on back road adventures. So if you want to know where the trails are and how good they are, it'll tell you that. Things about fishing, hunting, which don't interest me at all. Paddling, if you have a kayak. Has park adventures, so and that's about provincial parks. But it also it lists every recreational site, which is camping and hiking, for free. I've never seen a book like this, and I'm not affiliated with these guys, but if you're in northern BC or you're planning, pick up this book. It's well worth it. Now, foraging is sometimes a topic, but what about just the basic foods for survival if you're lost in the woods? Look at this sea of clover. Full of bees, but they don't want anything to do with me. They're busy gathering honey. And it's a perfect example of, if you're ever lost in the wilderness and somewhere like this, you don't starve. You don't have to starve. Just because there's not a McDonald's within 500 miles, there's plenty to eat if you have to in a survival situation. And let me just give you a few examples. One of my favorites is young dandelion leaves. Just eat them raw. It's a taste you've got to get used to acquire. The younger ones have less flavor, which makes them more palatable for some people. But another example, you see this plant here with the club stem on it? That is plantain. And again, the smaller leaves, now these are a little tough, Better to maybe boil them a little bit, but for survival food, you can eat them. Now, let's go to the obvious. Clover. You can eat any part of the clover. It's not the tastiest thing, but let's just find maybe a young one. This guy right here. The clover flower does not taste sweet. It's not like honey. Doesn't really taste very good at all. In a survival situation though, taste is not the big thing. It's, stop from being hungry, not starving. The leaves have a different flavor. Not bad. Apparently if you eat too many flowers you might bloat, but just take a little oil and vinegar, maybe some lemon juice if you have it. It might not be the best salad you've ever had, but at least you won't be hungry. Which is the motto for most of my cooking. Well, if you're not into just munching on whatever weeds you can find, you might want to consider at least seeping some in tea, because there's so many choices for herbal teas in the wilderness, and I'd like to point out a few. Now, I've talked before about rose hips, wild rose hips and rose hip tea. It's a wonderful tea, very soothing. Unfortunately, there are no rose hips here. So what else is there? Well, a lot of people have heard of Labrador tea, and this is Labrador tea right here. You can see how the leaves radiate out from the stem. Now, a word of caution about Labrador tea is there are some toxic elements to it. I wouldn't actually recommend it, and I have had it in the past, especially in my winter camping. I'll occasionally take a few leaves and make some tea, but it's not really a good tea, and I don't think it's worth the risk. So rather than take the chance in a survival situation, well, this is better than other things. However, I think there's better things just so close by, like pine needles. Pine needles make a very vitamin-rich tea. But the other favorite I have is this. Spruce boughs. Oh, I don't think there's a more fragrant tea than making it out of spruce needles. It makes a wonderful tea. Relaxing, nutritious, and smells so great. My trail to the water had another visitor. This grouse didn't seem to fear me, but sure kept an eye on me. There's another to the right. I let him pass, and in return he showed me some cool fungus growing on a stump. So I stopped for a picture before I went down to the dock. The water was a mirror until my weight on the dock disturbed it. A very insistent squirrel informed me that my Zen moment was over, time to exit the stage. to when I was watching the grouse, I noticed it was foraging itself and favored little red berries. This gave me another idea for my tea. It was a good year for forest fruit, and berries of every variety were on full display. All very pretty, but not all were edible. Better for me to stick to those I was familiar with. Like this variant of the raspberry family. And lucky for me, I even found my old favorite, rose hips. And there was no shortage of spruce out here. I sliced the rose hips into smaller pieces, trying my best not to cut the seeds. Although I said Labrador tea is not recommended, in this case I knew which was the right kind. Add the spruce needles and you got the perfect recipe for a nice cup of tea. After steeping in hot water for a few minutes, I then crushed the fruit to release the juice. This makes it turn pink and ready to drink. So there it is, my special herbal tea, just for this camping occasion. Now, it's up to you. You might want to filter it. Bottoms up. Oh, that is so good. The spruce, the little berries, the rose hips, slightly sweet, slightly tangy, but so good. Perfect for a fireplace. Or in my case, a fire pit. It's beans night. There's nothing that goes better with a campfire than beans. Ask Mel Brooks. But the third ingredient, you know what it usually is. But tonight, I have the medicinal and digestive properties of locally grown and brewed herbal tea. It may not be your cup of tea, but it's mine tonight. Oh, that's good. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please check out my others as well.